We've got loads of breaking cruise news, from Princess abandoning the summer season altogether to an update on whether or not Norwegian will survive. Well, ahoy there, cruisers. We're Cruise with Ben and David, and I'm Ben with all of the latest news. Princess Cruises have announced that they are abandoning the summer 2020 season altogether. This really isn't a surprise to us, guys. It extends global operations pause from 30th of June to the end of summer 2020. They did this because there's reduced flight availability, the closure of cruise ports, and other factors impacting the running of day-to-day things with cruise. And it's really made the decision unavoidable for them. Does this mean the same for all cruise lines, though? It really puts into doubt. Princess Cruises, though, has been leading by example all the way through the outbreak, giving really reasonable dates and dates that are more understandable. Other cruise lines have just been putting it back month by month, and obviously we're not going to be cruising anytime soon. We've said it before, but we think cruising is going to be one of the last forms of tourism back, just because it's so hard to do things like social distancing on a cruise with lots of passengers on. So along with the 2020 season being scrapped, this means all Alaska cruises have been scrapped, along with all European and transatlantic cruises. And summer Caribbean and Canada and New England cruises have also been cancelled, along with all of the Asia and Australia departures as well. So there's completely a blanket ban on everything with Princess Cruises now till the end of summer 2020. Jan Swartz, president of Princess Cruises, said, "As the world is still preparing to resume travel, it is with much disappointment that we announce an extension of our pause of global ship operations and the cancellation of cruise holidays for our loyal guests." As we've said, guys, we think Princess have really dealt with this great all the way through the pandemic. Jan Swartz, the president there, has been a really good voice throughout the whole thing, being very clear and very transparent to all of us, the cruisers. So what happens if you've been affected by this with the Princess Cruises? Well, if you paid in full already, you'll get 100% future cruise credit plus an extra 25% on top. If you haven't paid yet, Princess will double the deposit that you've already paid as extra credit. And in order to receive the future cruise credit, no action is required. You only need to take action if you do want a full refund, and you can do that on the website by filling out an online form. Unsurprisingly, a few other cruise lines have followed suit, including Holland America, another Carnival company. They've cancelled the whole 2020 season as well, cancelled all Europe, Alaska and Canada, New England cruises for summer 2020. It's really sad, guys, but it's not surprising at all. As we said, this is making Carnival's August planned return looking less likely. We thought it really might work. And if it does, we are definitely seeing what's going to be happening here, that cruises are going to start in the US again rather than elsewhere in the world. So initially, we think they're all going to start off from Floridian ports, South USA ports like Galveston first, before we get any action here in Europe at all from Southampton, Barcelona, Rome, all of those places. It's definitely going to be starting initially in the US. We can see this with lots of cruise lines such as Royal Caribbean just doing trips from, say, Miami or Fort Lauderdale to their private resorts and islands of Labadee and Perfect Cay. So just doing roundabout trips there where they're not going to any foreign countries, really. Next, cruise lines were accused of refusing to let stranded crew members off ships, with over 100,000 crew members still at sea, with 120 ships with 80,000 crew members still floating in international waters off the coast of the USA. But finally, today, cruise companies agreed to strict guidelines with the CDC allowing stranded workers to finally disembark. Tensions have been super high with the CDC lately in the last few weeks after the CDC told the press cruise lines would not pay the cost of charter flights for their employees to get home. This isn't good, guys. What do you think about this? The CDC was also quoted as saying some of the lines have really disappointed us about not cooperating. What they said repeatedly is, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't afford to do this. Their answers are not aligned with the public health needs. They did not want to agree to the strict protocols set by the CDC, which could end up with them being criminally liable if individual crew members did not stick to the strict regulations after they disembarked, which prevent them from using most types of transportation as well as hotels. Some really good news for Norwegian. As you know, we reported a few days ago that they were really struggling, but like a miracle, in the last few days, they've managed to secure a massive $2.2 billion in a fight to stay afloat. The company is expected to have over 3.5 billion liquidity, putting it in a much better position. It's pledged 2 ships as well as 2 islands as collateral in an upsized refinancing plan. The fundraising was really critical to their survival, and we were really worried about them, but the concern has basically been lifted now, thankfully. They are definitely positioned to survive for at least 12 months if voyages are completely cancelled during that time. Such fantastic news, guys. We are really happy that they're going to be still around and stay afloat. So this turnaround is some fantastic news. They've changed the situation literally overnight, and we couldn't be more thrilled. How good is that? So happy, guys. You know how much we love Norwegian Cruise Line, so we don't want to see any cruise lines go under. And finally, Royal Caribbean have said that they are laser focused on additional safety enhancements when they are allowed to return to service. Obviously, when the time's right. They are developing a brand new screening process, as well as coming up with new health protocols, enhanced sanitation, including something a little bit funky called electrostatic disinfectant sprays every night. I'm not sure exactly what this means, guys, but it looks like it's going to do a good job, as well as additional medical staff in the medical centre as well, and they're going to be providing complimentary medical consultations, so no having to pay really high charges for just going to get checked out. They're obviously working with the Cruise Line International Association as well as governments around the world just to sort out a plan for when they do come back. It all looks very positive, and one thing they have said, that there is no requirements for older cruisers or those with chronic conditions. They are not in effect with Royal Caribbean, so they've rubbished the claims that you're going to have a medical note or people over a certain age will be banned. So that's great news for everybody. It means that everybody will be able to enjoy cruises, or it looks like it, once they do return. What do you think about all of these news stories? We're bringing you all of the latest news. As we said weeks ago, we said on one of our videos that the European season was going to be cancelled, and we got a lot of hate for that, but it looks like it's true what we've said. We don't want to say I told you so, because we absolutely want cruising to start as soon as possible. But stick with us for the latest and most accurate news. Guys, we know what we're talking about. We've been doing this a long time, so we'd love it if you could consider hitting that subscribe button and press the bell button so you're notified when we upload a brand new video. And thank you so much to all of our patrons as well. In return of being a patron, we give you loads of things like extra videos, behind the scenes footage, as well as a podcast every 2 weeks. You can find out about becoming a patron in the description section below. And our captain of the week is Martha, so ahoy there, Martha. That's it till next time, guys. Happy cruising. Fingers crossed soon. We can't wait any longer.